Let's get one thing straight. Women are not as invincible as they seem. They may carry themselves with confidence, charm, and mystery, but beneath that exterior lie hidden emotional triggers and vulnerabilities that most men never see coming. And if you don't understand them, you'll keep making the same mistakes that push her away without even knowing why. Most men think being alpha is enough. That confidence alone will keep her interested. That attraction means control. But here's the truth. The strongest men are the ones who understand the silent weaknesses women try to hide. Not to manipulate her, not to overpower her, but to move with intention. To create connection from clarity, not confusion. Sun Tzu, the master strategist, once said, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles." Now, women aren't your enemy, but if you don't know how they operate emotionally, you'll keep fighting blind. And guess what? In the battlefield of love, ignorance is weakness. You've probably felt this. Things were going great, then suddenly she pulls away. She says she needs space. She says it's not you, it's her. And you're left stunned, wondering what changed. The truth is, there are emotional pressure points in every woman that, when misunderstood, lead to distance and disconnection. But when understood, that's when real attraction becomes unbreakable. Let's stop guessing. Let's stop reacting. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain and showing you the 7 hidden female weaknesses that most men overlook, but must understand if they want to build real connection and stay in control of their value. We're going deeper than just be confident or don't be needy. This is about psychology, emotional mastery, and awareness. Because once you understand how women really operate beneath the surface, you'll never be blindsided again. You'll know what to say, when to say nothing, and when to walk away with your power fully intact. As Bruce Lee once said, to know oneself is to study oneself in action with another person. This video will help you study not only her, but yourself. Because understanding her weaknesses also shines a light on your own patterns, and that's where the real growth happens. This isn't about playing games. It's about recognizing the signs she doesn't even speak out loud. And the moment you see those signs clearly, you stop reacting emotionally and start leading with presence, power, and precision. That's how you flip the script. So here's my promise to you. If you watch this video until the end, you will walk away with a sharper understanding of women than 90% of men ever will. You'll no longer second-guess what went wrong or chase validation. You'll respond like a man who knows the terrain and never gets lost in it again. If you're serious about becoming that man, do this now. Like this video, subscribe, and comment below. Awareness is my advantage, because once you know these hidden truths, you'll never look at her and yourself the same way again. Weakness number 1. Emotional inconsistency. Her own emotions confuse her. Here's a truth most men overlook. Many women are confused by their own emotional reactions, and that confusion is a hidden weakness. She might seem calm and collected one day, then distant and cold the next. She might crave your presence one moment and need space the next. It feels like a roller coaster, and it is. But here's the key. It's not always about you. Often she doesn't even fully understand what's happening inside her. As Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Many women are in a constant tug of war between emotion and logic. They might pull away not because they don't like you, but because they feel emotionally overwhelmed and don't know how to process it. They act from instinct, not intention. This inconsistency becomes a hidden vulnerability because it leads to indecision, confusion, and emotional burnout. If you're unaware of this, you'll take her shifts personally, chase validation, or react out of fear. But if you stay grounded and understand this pattern, you become the calm in her storm. That makes you unforgettable. Here's what most men do wrong. They react to her pullback with panic. They overtext, over-explain, or try to fix things. That only makes it worse. But if you stay centered and respond with grounded masculine energy, cool, collected, in control, she begins to associate you with stability. That's the one thing her emotions can't give her. When you recognize her emotional inconsistency isn't a personal attack, but a natural part of her inner struggle, you stop trying to chase peace from her and start becoming the peace she subconsciously craves. She might test you emotionally, but she's secretly hoping you pass the test. And when you do, you rise above every other man who crumbles under pressure. Weakness number 2. Validation, dependency. She craves external reassurance. No matter how confident she looks, how independent she acts, or how many "I don't need a man" quotes she posts, most women carry a deep, often unspoken need for validation. And it's not always about ego. It's about emotional security. Here's the twist. She may not even realize it. Society tells women to be strong, to be enough on their own. But at the same time, they're bombarded with messages that tie their worth to their appearance, attention, and romantic desirability. This creates a constant internal conflict. She wants to feel desired without seeming like she needs to be. As Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." But that doesn't stop many women from subconsciously seeking affirmation from social media likes, flirtatious comments, or even your reactions. When she dresses up, posts that selfie, or tests your attention with silence, she's not always doing it for herself. She's checking if she still matters to you. This weakness becomes dangerous when a man doesn't recognize the difference between genuine connection and validation-seeking behavior. If you constantly feed her validation, you may end up enabling her insecurity. If you withhold it out of spite, you trigger emotional panic. The real power lies in giving her validation with intentionality, not as a reward, but as grounded acknowledgement. Here's what most men get wrong. They either validate too much and lose value, or they refuse to validate at all and come off cold. The smart man knows how to affirm her without being controlled by her reactions. He compliments with calm confidence. He notices without chasing. He becomes the only source of validation that feels real, because it's not desperate. Once you understand that her validation-seeking isn't vanity, it's vulnerability, you'll stop taking her tests personally. You'll stop overcompensating. And most importantly, you'll stay in control of the frame. Because when she realizes you're the one man who doesn't fall into the trap of chasing her or ignoring her, but instead sees through her need and meets it with quiet strength, you become the man she doesn't want to lose. Weakness 3. Her imagination is louder than your words. Here's something most men completely underestimate. A woman's mind can create entire emotional realities from the smallest actions, that unanswered text, that slight shift in your tone, that pause before you replied. To you, it's nothing. To her, it's a movie, with plot twists. Women are naturally intuitive and emotionally imaginative, and this is both their gift and their weakness. Because when uncertainty enters the equation, she fills in the blanks with her own fears, insecurities, and assumptions. And once her imagination takes over, logic goes out the window. As Mark Twain once said, "I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which never happened." That's exactly what happens inside her when she feels emotionally unsettled. She doesn't need facts to feel something deeply. She just needs a gap, a pause, or a mixed signal. The danger? If you don't understand this, you'll keep trying to explain yourself logically. But logic doesn't calm imagination. Certainty does. A woman doesn't always need long explanations. She needs consistent signals that she can emotionally rely on. Mixed energy, confusion, inconsistency. It makes her spiral internally. Here's where most men slip. They think silence equals strength. But if you go silent without grounding her in certainty, her mind fills the silence with chaos. She starts to assume things like, he's losing interest, he's playing games, or worse, he's seeing someone else. Even if it's not true, perception becomes her reality. But here's your edge. Once you understand that emotional ambiguity fuels her anxiety, you can shift everything. You don't need to over-explain, you just need to lead with emotional clarity. Show up consistently, speak less, but with intent. Let your actions match your words. And when you say something, mean it. Every time. When she realizes that you're the one man whose energy is steady, even when her emotions aren't, you become a grounding force in her world of overthinking. And that's rare. That's attractive. That's powerful. Because at the end of the day, her imagination will always run wild. The question is, will you be the man who calms the storm, or becomes the storm she fears? Weakness number 4. Her need for control disguises her fear of losing it. She might appear strong, independent and in charge, especially in the early stages of dating or even deep into a relationship. She might make the plans, set the tone, and steer the emotional dynamic. But here's what most men miss: the fear of losing emotional safety. When she tries to take the lead emotionally, questions your intentions constantly, or gets upset when things don't go exactly as expected, it's not because she wants to dominate. It's because she fears being out of control in a space where her heart is at risk. And love, by nature, is vulnerability. As Brené Brown put it, vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. Many women crave love, but also fear the lack of control that comes with it. So they try to manage the outcome through control by overanalyzing, planning, and emotional testing. You'll see it when she tries to define the relationship too soon, or when she needs constant reassurance, or when she becomes distant if she feels she's getting too attached. She's not trying to manipulate you. She's trying to protect herself from the chaos of emotional surrender. This becomes a weakness because the more she tries to stay in control, the more she disconnects from the natural flow of intimacy. It's exhausting for her and confusing for you. But here's where you come in. Your job is not to overpower her control. It's to make her feel safe enough to release it. Most men respond to this behavior by challenging her, withdrawing, or playing power games. But the grounded man knows better. He stays calm. He holds the frame. He leads with confidence, not dominance. He doesn't react to the control. He sees through it. He makes her feel safe enough to stop needing it. And once she feels that kind of emotional security, where she doesn't have to micromanage love or protect herself through control, she softens, she trusts, she opens. Because control was never the end goal. Safety was. You don't win her heart by beating her control. You win it by becoming the one man she doesn't need to control at all. Weakness number 5. Her strength often hides her desire to be led. You see her doing it all, handling her business, setting boundaries, asserting herself, and moving with confidence. She's the one people rely on. She's the one who doesn't flinch when things get hard. But here's the truth that most men never see. Underneath all that strength, she deeply desires to let go, to be led, to rest. This doesn't mean she wants to be controlled. It means she wants to feel safe enough to surrender her constant need to be on. In a world that constantly demands her independence, being able to relax into a man's leadership feels like oxygen. As Napoleon Bonaparte once said, "The strong man is the one who is able to intercept at will the communication between the senses and the mind." In modern terms, the strong man reads between the lines. He understands that when a woman is always in control, always leading, always strong, it's not because she wants to be, it's often because she has to be. She's used to men being inconsistent, passive, or emotionally immature. So she steps up and fills the void. But when she finally meets a man who knows who he is, who can lead the interaction, make decisions with confidence, and handle her emotions without getting pulled into them, she starts to exhale. And that's when the softness shows up. That's when the nurturing, loyal, deeply feminine energy comes to the surface. But it can only emerge when she feels she's in the presence of a man who won't fumble the leadership she's used to carrying alone. Here's where most guys mess it up. They either fear her strength and shrink themselves, or they try to dominate her in response to it. Both approaches fail. The secret is not to overpower her, but to lead alongside her with presence, clarity, and emotional steadiness. When she realizes you can handle her strength without being intimidated or threatened by it, she relaxes. And when she relaxes, she connects. And when she connects, that's when love, real, deep, honest love, has a place to grow. Weakness number 6. Her independence is often a shield, not a statement. We live in a time where women are celebrated for being independent, and rightfully so. Many women take pride in being self-sufficient, emotionally strong, and needing no one. But here's what most men never realize. Her independence is often a defense mechanism, not a declaration of wholeness. Yes, she pays her own bills. Yes, she's emotionally disciplined. Yes, she's built a life where she doesn't need anyone. But that independence, it's often a result of being disappointed, let down, or abandoned in the past. It's not that she doesn't want connection. It's that she's afraid of relying on anyone again. As the great Sigmund Freud once said, "We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love." And many women have learned the hard way that depending on others, even emotionally, leaves them open to that suffering. So what do? They build walls. Walls made of independence. She might say she doesn't want help. She might act like she prefers being alone. But the truth is, she craves emotional safety more than anything. She longs to feel like she can depend on someone without it costing her peace, dignity, or identity. Where most men go wrong is taking her independence at face value. They either back off entirely, thinking she wants to be left alone, or they try to break through it aggressively, both of which push her further away. The wise man. He respects her independence, but gently proves she doesn't have to carry everything alone. You don't lead with force. You lead with presence. You show up consistently. You make her feel seen without pressuring her to open up. You create space, not demands. And slowly, that hard shell begins to crack. Not because you broke it, but because she chose to let it down in your presence. Because once she feels that she can be strong and supported at the same time, she'll stop hiding behind independence and start showing you who she really is. Soft, loyal, emotionally rich, and all in. The weakness number 7. She fears being too much for the man she loves. Beneath every confident smile, every guarded response, and every moment of vulnerability lies one final silent fear in many women. The fear of being too much, too emotional, too intense, too opinionated, too honest. And the heartbreaking part. This fear makes her hold back parts of herself you were meant to see. See, when a woman starts to fall for you, she doesn't just fear losing you, she fears overwhelming you. She might downplay her feelings, stay quiet when she wants to speak, or shrink parts of herself to fit what she thinks you can handle. Not because she's manipulative, but because she's afraid. Afraid that showing her full emotional range will make you pull away. As the legendary Maya Angelou said, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. That's what she lives with, this hidden agony of holding back, of silencing her truest self, just to maintain the connection. This fear is rooted in experience. Maybe past partners called her dramatic, too emotional, or needy. Maybe when she showed up fully, she was met with judgment or withdrawal. So now, when she starts to care deeply for you, she hides the very depth of love she wants to give. This becomes a hidden weakness because it stunts real intimacy. She'll keep things light, surface level, or chill, even when her heart is screaming for more. But here's the thing. She's not looking for a man who tolerates her depth. She's looking for a man who can hold it. When you show her that you can, when you don't flinch at her emotions, when you create a space where nothing she says is too much, and when you make her feel emotionally safe enough to be her full self, you unlock a version of her no one else gets. She'll stop pretending. She'll stop protecting. She'll stop pulling back, because now she knows you're the man who can handle all of her, not just the easy parts. And that right there is when you stop being just another guy and become the man she'll never forget. Now you see, women aren't just mysterious or complicated. They're layered, emotionally rich, strong and soft at the same time. But behind all that strength and confidence, there are hidden vulnerabilities that most men never recognize, and even fewer know how to hold. These 7 hidden weaknesses aren't flaws, they're windows. And the man who understands them, respects them, and responds with calm leadership, he becomes unforgettable. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. But if you can be the man who sees through the emotional noise, who doesn't panic, who doesn't chase, who leads with quiet strength, you become the man she trusts, the man she chooses, the man she doesn't want to lose. As Leonardo da Vinci said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And when it comes to understanding women, the most powerful thing you can do is simply pay attention, not just to what she says, but to what she guards. So, if this video hit different, if it gave you a new lens to view women, relationships, and your own masculine presence, don't let it stop here. Hit that like button, subscribe for more real talk, and drop this in the comments below. I lead with presence. Let that be your mantra. Let that be your reminder. Because presence is power, and power, when it's calm, consistent, and conscious, changes everything. This is Ace Wisdom, and I'll see you in the next one.